Thursday morning, 18 minutes past 7 o'clock. So you've just heard the union Unison urging Brighton and Hove City Council to tear up the deal that financed the Jubilee Library, to go back to Inviva investors and say, I'm sorry, we're just paying over the odds for our library here. Thanks for the money, but it's now paid. Let's get some reaction from Henry Smith, the MP for Crawley. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you renege on PFI agreements?
Well, I don't think you can, as you were saying, and indeed I think as the union representative was also saying, you can't completely tear up a legal agreement. If you did that, no one would ever enter into an agreement with you again. However, I do agree that it is time for us to look to renegotiate to get better terms for the taxpayer for a lot of PFI projects. But it's not just the companies' fault. They saw an opportunity, they bid for that, and they were accepted. It was a previous government who, unfortunately, allowed many of these PFI contracts to go ahead.
Well, and delivered a huge number of public buildings which we had failed to finance in any other way. So we wouldn't have a Jubilee Library. We wouldn't have an Alex Hospital. We wouldn't have all these beautiful buildings that we have now if we didn't have PFI.
Well, I would dispute that. PFI was, by the previous government, the only game in town. They wouldn't allow any other form of financing for these public projects. The government were the ones who set the rules, and the only rule that they allowed was PFI. I experienced this several years ago in Crawley when 3 secondary schools were rebuilt, and it was much needed. It was a much overdue project, but the government at the time said we could only consider PFI. There was no other funding option, and the terms of the PFI were not efficient for the taxpayer. And now, as the representative from Unison was saying, the taxpayer is going to have to pay over a long period of time. It's like a 25-year mortgage. It literally is like a 25-year mortgage, a lot more over the odds than would have been the case had the government and the public sector negotiated a better deal in the first place.
Henry Smith, OK, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much indeed. So watch this space, see whether we can renegotiate. But Henry Smith suggesting any idea of actually just tearing up an agreement, a legal agreement, is a non-starter. It's 7:20 here at BBC Sussex. We'll talk